Hey y'all, I'm back. Welcome to another What Else is Going On, aka We Go Podcast YouTube video. I'm your girl, your host, Taria. Told you I wanted to get into some things with y'all. If I was live, I would have just, child, did it all in one video. But since I still have not done that yet, I said, let me just come back. Baby, I'm back and get into it. Did I ask y'all on the last video if y'all watching Love Island? If y'all are, please let me know. All right, first up. I found this. Ooh, we just gonna get into it and talk about it. Phaedra Parks. Now, we talked about how Phaedra responded to. Remember when Angela was on reality from Page Six, and Angela said that Phaedra was clout chasing her, and I asked y'all, what do y'all think? Phaedra responded to it, and all that good stuff. And we've all talked about how Phaedra. Now, I won't say all of us. I'll speak for me. I talked about how Phaedra talks in circles and some don't really answer a question. And she'd be like, I don't know. Girl, Jesus. Like, she does all those things. There's a little bit more to that interview that I wanted to get into. So, this is from the same interview. And again, this is by way of reality blur, but she has sat down with reality on Page Six. So they started talking to her. Ready? They said one of the notable questions concerned Kenya and whether she should return to the show. Phaedra answered, "You know what? That's not my decision." The host then pressed her, asking, "Well, what if it was?" "Well, you probably shouldn't ask me that. At the end of the day, that's not my business," Phaedra responded. So maybe she don't really have an opinion. Okay. Regarding whether she would film with Kenya, Phaedra said, "We're obviously not bosom buddies, as you well know, but I don't have any issues with her." Then she called Kenya's actions against Britt Eady very shocking. As fans know, newbies Kelly Farrell and Britt seemed to have had a falling out as the season progressed. When discussing what went wrong, Phaedra said, "Well, you know what? I came when it started to go down the drain, so I didn't really know the other side of it." A part of me is like, exactly, you came to the end of everything. So you can't have an opinion on this or on that, but yet you can have all the smoke for some of the other stuff that ain't got nothing to do with you. Anyway, she explained, "I've told both of them this. Life is too short to be fussing about employees because it seems to be about people that they work with." Phaedra said specifically that she thinks the argument had to do with the makeup person. I never showed y'all this video. I meant to, and I sent it to myself and then deleted it. You know the guy that was in the episode where Kelly had that brunch for Britt, and the gentleman with the blonde hair that she said was her stylist, and then he also she lent him to Britt when they went to Nashville. It was Nashville they went to, right? I remember seeing from an IG account, and I cannot remember Britt in the car with him. He was in the front seat with Britt, that guy. And I was like, I think this is Kelly's stylist. And I remember it was after of course, it was after they had fallen out, right? Because it happened after the season wrapped and they fell out when the season wrapped. And I remember thinking immediately when I saw him, I wonder if it would have something to do with this guy. Because if you have been with Kelly all that time and then you met Britt through Kelly, now you're hanging with Britt, not just styling, but hanging with her. I don't know. And so I wondered if that was it. So for Phaedra to say, I think it has to do with the makeup person, I think it has to do with this stylist. Because I heard that somewhere else too. But I remember thinking, I wish I could find that. Let me see if I can find it real quick. What's her last name, y'all? Edie and Kelly's stylist. I wish I could say, man. Britt Eady and Kelly's former stylist was Paris Che. He previously worked with Kelly and then switched to styling Britt Eady, which some speculate may have contributed to their fallout as a friend. Now, I think that was Chat GPT. But anyway, that is that. I wished I could find that. But so now he's working with Britt, I bet you that was their fallout too. Next up. Now, this is the part that I was like, did you know you contradicted yourself? Ready? Okay. You just got to know how to ask a question with Phaedra and you'll get the contradiction. So, they also discussed the new cast members in general during the interview, and the host remarked that the fans are loving all the newbies. Oh, you know what? It was all. Okay, so maybe she got me because I was going to say Phaedra contradicted herself, but they did say all. They told her the fans are loving all the newbies, which now that I think about it, I mean, Britt does have her segment of fans, I guess. Phaedra retorted, I won't say that. I don't think that they are. One of the hosts added, people love Kelly. In response, the RHOA star asked, do they? I mean, I heard a lot about Angela Oakley. They love Angela. They think Angela is a reincarnated housewife. And then they started talking about the whole clap thing or what have you. She then said that she basically was sad to see Portia and Shamia's friendship fall apart. They asked her about her. Oh, and she said that the topic of Drew came up. They asked her, did she think anything happened between Drew and Dennis? She said, personally, I don't think so. They asked her about her previous comments about Drew being the biggest liar on the cast. Remember, before the show aired, they were doing a heavy promotion for Atlanta, and everybody was saying Drew, and even Phaedra said Drew. Phaedra called her the biggest liar. According to Phaedra, here's the thing. It wasn't a dig. It was just that she shows up late to everything. So she's always usually 2 or 3 hours late. And so when you're 2 or 3 hours late, the dinner's happening, the show is going on without you. And so that's problematic. How does that have to do with her being a liar? Is she lying about the reason she's showing up late? Because you were literally, when y'all were on y'all press run, you still are, but earlier on, calling her the biggest liar. And now it's because she was showing up late, which, by the way, Drew is showing up late to scenes. What is going on? It almost makes me wonder, are the producers giving her a different time to set her up to, I don't know. Then she says, I haven't had, but one experience with her on the show. And that sort of involves the whole Angela situation. So I think she was definitely behind that. Drew was definitely in the mix with it. And so I was not very happy with her because I think she had a lot to do with the Angela situation. You're not even saying she lied about that. So when it comes to you, what is she lying about? To me, this was definitely a pile on. And then she also said she would like to bring back Nene because her and Nene have a great relationship. She said, Kim Zolciak, child, please. Marlo and Sheree. Remember, Phaedra was the one who initially brought Marlo on, introduced her, I'm pretty sure. I think y'all can fact check me on that, but I thought so. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting, especially the Drew part. Like, you calling her the biggest liar, but now you're kind of walking it back in this interview. So you were just saying that because everybody else was saying it, like it was a concerted effort to make Drew the target this season and have the audience see Drew a certain way. Now, we know Drew don't always stay in the realm of truth, but I know you're not up here talking about somebody's a liar. Huh? But child, I'ma enjoy what they give, I guess, if I can. Moving on to Atlanta. Let's get into Nene released another episode. Shout out to Nene. She released another episode, and she had this to say when it came to Bravo and her and NBC Universal. So let's get into it.
In the Oscars or the Emmys on the red carpet, that I'm in a bad place with Bravo or NBC, and that is just not the case. I mean, there's been so much talk. We've actually cleared all of our disagreements up. We've
Beautiful.
actually sat at the same table and worked through these things.
You did a whole special.
Yeah, we
you
worked through
hosted an
all of
after
that
show.
stuff. I did.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I think people are not thinking I'm working for NBC. You know,
are.
when you see me hosting the Oscars or the Emmys on the red carpet, they own those carpets.
They do.
And if we were in some sort of beef, they would not have me on their carpets.
That part.
I just think that people don't really see it like that. They don't really get that NBC owns Bravo.
Yeah.
And but we're in an okay place. We are dating, if that's a thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's slow, but so far all is well. People think that I'm in a bad place with Bravo or NBC, and that is just not the case.
Thank you for clearing that up.
I mean, there's been so much talk. We've actually cleared all of our disagreements up. We've actually sat at the same table and worked through these things.
You did a whole special.
Yeah, we worked through all of that stuff. I did. And then
Sorry, y'all.
sometimes I think people are not thinking I'm working for NBC. You know, when you see me hosting the Oscars or the Emmys on the red carpet, they own those carpets.
They do.
And if we were in some sort of beef, they would not have me on their carpets.
That part.
I just think that people don't really see it like that. They don't really get that NBC owns Bravo.
Yeah.
And but we're in an okay place. We are dating, if that's a thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's slow, but so far all is well. People think that
What's this next slide? And that was in April of 2022. Nene Leakes files lawsuit against the Real Housewives of Atlanta team alleges racist work environment. Child, she said they are dating. All is well. They've sat at the table. Who is they? I guess her and NBC Universal. I'm trying to see y'all because I had y'all, when I shared the screen with y'all, I wanted to see what y'all was looking at. Ain't nothing much. All right. Y'all was all in my stuff. It was on the screen for a while. All right. Well, ain't nothing but a Parent Plus loan correspondence and some worksheets. So I'm not editing it out. Let me look again, make sure what ain't nothing. Nah, it ain't nothing. So nope. Anyway, y'all saw that. My bad, y'all. I am so sorry. I did not realize that the full screen wasn't up. But what do y'all think? Nene says they are dating. I remember she said that before on something else. She said they sat down at the table. Again, I want to know if it was her and NBC Universal or her, NBC Universal and Bravo. Like, did they all sit down? So do y'all, and that was from the Jasmine brand. Do y'all think that's an open door? The door is cracked. What y'all think? I know we've wanted, I know we want it, and some of us have said, never again. But I will say this, with the whole NBC Universal thing, yeah, she wouldn't be on their red carpets if they were still, an issue. Now maybe she will follow the pipeline from Trader to Housewives that Phaedra followed. Who knows? She'll skip the Married to Medicine piece unless she starts dating a medicine man. But who knows? Do y'all think that her saying, like, is she trying? Because somebody in the comments said, "Oh, who you trying to convince?" But I do feel like, again, she wouldn't have been working the red carpets that she has. So y'all let me know what y'all think. At this point, there are people that are over the whole Nene coming back discussion. They feel like it's never going to happen. Then there are people that are holding out hope that she comes back. I'm somewhere in the middle because I feel like if NBC, even though NBC Universal owns Bravo, that doesn't necessarily mean Bravo would be open. NBC Universal may still heed to Bravo and be like, well, do you want her to come back? But I will say, if Bravo cares about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, I'm not saying it would be the best season, but we know good and doggone well, if Nene came back, Phaedra came back, Sheree came back, Kenya was there, and Portia was back, at least in the beginning, those ratings would skyrocket. At least, even if it didn't stay that way in the beginning. The thing is, those are some high salaries. I do wonder if Nene would come back with a pay cut, or would they take the chance and say, "All right, we're gonna pay all of them this money. We got Jersey on pause. We're gonna pay them this money and see what it does for the network." I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think. All right, love y'all. I told y'all it was gonna be short and sweet. I'm about to eat my Subway. Talk to you later. See ya.